What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Profit Picks. If you are new, we do always start this show by being transparent. And yesterday, I had three total plays, all in the NBA. I went 2-1. The loser was the Bucks -9. Giannis got hurt. I already knew it was over. They were losing before that, even. And the two winners were the Clippers +7 and the Nuggets in an easy blowout over the Timberwolves. So, profitable day. We've had a couple profitable days back to back. Try to keep that going here with my guy Andrew. And it's my first time doing a show with you in a long time. It's great to have you on here. You're great. Capper all around, but I'm here. I want to really cap NHL and you know, piggyback and cap the capper with you. But how have you been doing lately, Andrew? And great to have you on.
I'm doing very well, man. Thank you for having me on. I've been watching your show, seeing what you guys are getting up to. So when I saw your text come in, I was ready to go, man. I like talking other sports with you, hoops and some baseball stuff, but I'm here to talk some hockey. I can't wait for it. And kind of like what you and I were saying backstage together, Skee, about the regular season in the NBA. Even for me, man, with the NHL, I've just been dying for the playoffs, right? So it's a whole new beast. It's a different type of hockey, man, and I can't wait. I was joking around. I've been on this health kick lately, trying to work out and go for walks and get in shape for the summer. Well, I better do that during the day because I'm gonna be a couch potato, man, every night for the next few months, man. NBA, NHL playoffs. I'm gonna be on the couch all night.
Hey, I'm with you. I've been gone for about a month. I'm like, let me get my ass home, man. It's time to lock in.
Yeah.
I've been watching NHL playoffs, and I like it. I watched it the past 2 years. It's exciting. So that's why I've been slowly but surely getting into it, and looking forward to talking to you about some of this here tonight. There's four games. Oh, before I get to the four games, I want to ask you a question. I see in the NBA the series prices like they can become insane. Like they can become over -1,000, but you don't really see that in the NHL. It's more like
No.
competitive price. So is it like in NHL anybody can win in these series? Is that why you see a more competitive price, or do you still see like really big advantages just like NBA?
Yeah, I mean, like you take a look at the Boston Bruins, right? Like they broke the record for the most wins in a single season in the salary cap era and in just every era, which is crazy for how well they did. And like you said, Ski, you look at the price on them, and you're kind of scratching your head. They're playing Florida, and Florida comes in as the bottom seed, and they're only laying $3. A little over that, of course, but you would think it would be a massive, massive favorite. But I think that you look at the NHL playoffs and what has happened over the few years. I feel like the books are kind of protecting themselves. Several years ago, Ski, I think it might have been 2019 and 2018, the St. Louis Blues were the worst team in the league. January 1st, they went on to get the 8th seed, upset the number 1 seed. They won the Stanley Cup that year after being the worst team in the league in the start of January. So I feel like they're protecting themselves, man. But one thing I'll really say, and I know you probably do this with other sports as well. Everybody out there wants to load up on their picks before the series start. Like for example, Edmonton could lose tonight, and all of a sudden you're getting a way better price on them. The next day, everybody thinks they have to make their series picks betting wise before it starts, but you can bet these in series. Wouldn't everybody love to see Florida win tonight and get a better price on the Bruins? Things like that. So I do a lot of betting in series, right? Like whether it's how many games it will go and things like that.
And that makes sense to me because I do the same in NBA. So on that note, you mentioned Edmonton. Let's get right to that game. We have the Kings heading into Edmonton to face the Oilers. This game opened Edmonton about -170. They're getting up there now. They're really close to, even up to a $2 favorite at circa. So a lot of people coming in liking the Oilers. The total opened 6.5, still sitting steady at 6.5 here. So as you guys know, I've already mentioned this. I'm not the big hockey handicapper, but I have won 6 out of 8 bets so far this season, and
Okay.
I'm gonna do my best to handicap with Andrew today. So in this game, I see that Skinner, he's on a 6 game win streak, right? 1.5 goals against average, 0.946 save percentage. Oilers, they've won 9 of their last 10 home games. The Kings, I feel like when I was reading about some of the people they're missing, one of those guys that they're missing is really important, or might be missing, Fiala.
Yeah.
Uh, so that could be important for them. I look at the goalies. Copley, I don't know how to pronounce his name. He's 25-10. Copley, he's been pretty good so far this season. Skinner, 29-19, as far as when they're in net. Looking at Edmonton, they are 22-12-7 to the over at home. The Kings are 23-15-3 to the over on the road. So, but the under is hit 3 out of their 4 meetings so far this season. So looking at it a little bit more, I see Edmonton has the worst save percentage and they allow the 5th most power play opportunities. So my question is, can their offense make up for that? And is this a game where the total is a little bit correlated? Like if you like the Oilers, you like the over. If you like the Kings, you like the under. What do you think about that, Andrew?
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I would say that it's interesting because these teams met in the first round of last year's playoffs. LA actually won the first game, and they were actually up 3-2 in the series. Edmonton had to win 2 straight games. After they did that, they went on to the Western Conference Finals. So, it's pretty interesting to look at the fact that they don't want to face that same adversity they had to face last year, right? I mean, they lost game 1, they lose game 4 as well. They find themselves down 3-2. Here's the thing: both teams got better, right? They're 2 teams playing each other again, but both teams got better in different ways. Here's what I'll say about this Oilers team: they're very top heavy. That's kind of what their thing has been for many, many years. But unlike the NBA, man, is that you can't have 3 players carry the load of your scoring, right? It just 3 players cannot win you a Stanley Cup like maybe 3 or 4 players can win you a ring in the association. And I feel like you've got guys like Nugent Hopkins and Hyman and Evander Kane that don't even get talked about as much because you have Draisaitl and McDavid that are just so good that there's some guys that kind of fall under the radar. Picking up Ekholm at the trade deadline might be one of the biggest deadline pickups I think that any team made, because everyone talks about all the forwards, right? The big name players. You pick up our goal scorers, but picking up a defender, I mean, you talk about that save percentage, it's not good, man, for Oilers. No matter who's in net, their save percentage has not been good. But I think I take a look at, really picking up Ekholm. It's helped their defense a bit. You mentioned the unders. I couldn't believe over the last 10 games going into the playoffs, the Oilers have gone under 7. But I think the biggest factor, man, for me in this one is the injuries. Like, talk about Kevin Fiala. I thought he was going to be able to play today, but he's out, it looks like. Another big guy is out as well, Gabe Vilardi. He is out. So, like, imagine you have, a team that already is the underdog. They're already, in a tough position, and then they get a little banged up. Like, you have to be as healthy as you possibly can be. But my play that I like here, actually, Skee, is the over 1.5 in the first period. I know it's a bit chalky. It's like 145, 150. But that old saying, old habits can creep in. And that's kind of what I think will happen with the Oilers, at least in the first period. We might see some sloppiness. Like, everyone thinks that they're just all of a sudden some really good defensive team. It's kind of like, how I see you on Twitter with some pitchers when you crap all over them. You know what I mean? In baseball, that's how I feel about the Edmonton Oilers. I'm not buying it one bit, right? Like, if they're going to be a successful team, of course, they have to be a good defensive team. But I feel like we're going to see end-to-end action. It's the last game of the night, and I guarantee you nobody will fall asleep watching that game. It'll be a fast-paced one. It wouldn't shock me to see 1-1 or 2-1 after the first period. So probably do lean to the full game over, but I'll take the first period over 1.5 and lean to Edmonton because I look at those injuries, and you know how it is, man. You can't have a team that's already an underdog and then have 2 key guys out.
Absolutely. So Andrew likes goals early here. Wouldn't be surprised to see them often as well. Let me ask you. So if we do like Edmonton here, are they the kind of team like you bet in regulation? Would you trust them if you like the Edmonton side, or in the playoffs, do you kind of stay away from the regulation bets?
Yeah, it's tough, man, because you obviously see a lot more overtime in the playoffs. But I don't like laying huge chalk. Like I said, like I am kind of laying 145-ish with that first period play. But with the first period, I'll kind of be a little more lenient. But I never saw those tweets. but yeah, I mean, I think that the way to go is probably more team totals, because let's say even the Oilers are at 3 goals, right? we're probably going to see LA pull their goalie and Edmonton might get one. I think that even though they've improved defensively, man, when Edmonton wins a game, they're probably going to score 4 goals. So you're getting like 165 there on the money line, and it's minus 125 for the team total over 3.5 goals.
Okay. I get what you're saying there. So my last question here would be, with that team total look, I mean, I feel like this Copley guy is really good. Do we really want to be betting against him with the team total tonight? Or is that one, it makes you feel a little bit nervous?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why I'm just on the first, like the only pick I'm betting so far is that first period one.
Okay.
That's my only one so far. Because again, he doesn't have a ton of experience either in games like this. And I feel like that playoff hockey is way different. Sometimes I look towards, like in some series, I think they'll start slow and low scoring. And as the series progresses, we'll see more goals. And then some of them I see the opposite, where it starts fast and starts to slow down after. I feel like that's what I'm going to see here. We're going to see that it start a little bit faster, and then the goalies will settle in a little bit. Like, I don't know if you remember, like last year, it was crazy, man. When Edmonton and Calgary, they had 7-6, man. They had a game in the playoffs. They finished 7-6. Like, that's crazy.
And Justin, Andrew knows his hockey. He's done really well with hockey over the years. So it's a guy you want to be telling going in the right direction there. So we can be done with this game here. We did pretty good. Andrew likes the first period over 1.5. Like I said, he's also not surprised if the full game goes over, but the advantage is early. I'm unsure on this one. I think this is one I'm going to let go and maybe make a decision on one of the other 3 games. Let's move over to Florida and Boston. We see Boston open as a $2 favorite. They're up to about 220, even 225 at DraftKings and Caesars. Total opened at 6. We've seen a half-point move up to 6.5. There's still some 6s, but they're becoming juiced. How I was looking at this one, when I was looking at the stats, I was really surprised. Just this Boston team, they're probably rightfully a big favorite like this. 33-7 as a home favorite. They only lost 7 games as a home favorite. That's pretty impressive out of 40. Florida, on the flip side, they're 5-10 as a road dog. So when they play the better teams, they're not performing. I don't want to slander these goalies' names. Olmark, I'm doing my best. I have him as 41-17 straight up, 27-18-3 to the under. So I think he's a pretty solid goalie. Either that or the Bruins offense is just that good. And Alex Lyon, he's 9-4-2 to the over. So that makes me think that, he's not a really good goalie. So if you have a solid goalie for the Bruins, they're already dominant at home. I mean, it makes sense why it's a big price tag for them. Is it worth it to back the Bruins here? Is there another way we can back the Bruins that is cheaper? Or do we just go with the over that's hit all 4 meetings this season?
Yeah, I'm going to be a little bit contrarian, man, and I'm actually going to go with the under 6.5 here. I think that I told you before that some series I think will start low scoring and get higher scoring as the series progresses. Some are going to be a complete opposite. What's up, Ronald? I got to give a shout out to my guy.
I think overall in this series that we're going to see Florida do their best defensively to keep traffic away from Alex Lyon. He's a younger guy as well. And when I take a look at this Florida team, the schedule they had down the stretch, Skee, I don't want to just say, go hard on them and disrespect them. But for the most part, they had it pretty easy, right? They played Montreal, Columbus, Buffalo, Ottawa, Washington. In that run that pretty much got them into the playoffs, they all played teams that were not going to make the playoffs, like losing teams. You know what I mean? And then you look at the next 2 games, they play against teams that are in the playoffs, Carolina and Toronto, and they lose those games. So, look, I love an upset just as much as everybody else does. The Bruins fans and the Bruins drive me crazy. Like I would love nothing more to see the Bruins lose, but I find it real hard to believe that Florida is going to be able to outclass them. But I think out the gate, Skee, Florida knows that if they're going to beat Boston, they have to play well defensively. They're not going to go out there and try and open things up. You know what I mean? It's kind of like they got to play like half court sets in basketball for all you basketball guys out there. They do not want to get out on the fast breaks and stuff like that. That's what's going to happen here in this game. I look for under. Seeing a 6.5 here too. You talk about Allmark, and I like the way you said it because it was kind of an accident, like the way like you segued that for me. They literally look at this and they think that Allmark is just a good goalie because of his team, right? I don't think Allmark gets enough respect because of the team in front of him, right? So I think the defense and with the goaltending and Alex Lyon playing pretty good so far, I'll take the under. And if hey, with that last comment there, if the Bruins do smash, at least hopefully it goes under the total.
All right, so a lot of different opinions in the chat. Before I get to those opinions, our guy UCapper, yeah, UCapper, he says, looks like two dudes. I'm a hoop, I'm a hoop up in August, and then he comes and says, can't wait to do the 2 small posts to Andrew. And we can't wait, man. It'll be fun. It was fun last time.
He hits me with this one.
But let's take a look at the chat really quick. So Munaf, he disagrees as well. He likes Bruins team total over. I guess they can both hit, but he likes the Bruins on the puck line. There was some more comments in here. Let's see. Yeah, I think it was just him and Nasty Nate there. There was some more that I probably passed up that said the Bruins as well. So
I like what the Buford T Justice said. I want the Bruins to lose as much as the next guy, but we might as well make some money. And that's actually how I feel too. It's like, man, I hate the Bruins, but we might as well make some money on them, you know? Like,
yeah.
Like I've got a 2-team series parlay on them and the Hurricanes to win. I'll give that out right now. That's one of my client picks. It's just parlay 2 series bets, but they're both money line favorites, like pretty big faves. So I took the Bruins and I took the Hurricanes both to win their series. And together I got -105 with that.
Nice. And I'm not the big like I can definitely see we haven't got to the Hurricanes yet, but I definitely see why you betting the Bruins here, and I would not want to be betting against them. Just I like what you said earlier. I love an upset just as much as the next guy, but this is not the one to be looking for. Shout out to Wham Bam. I appreciate you becoming a member. And if you guys are liking what we're doing, hit the like button for us. It does help us out quite a bit. And subscribe if you want to know when we're live on the channel here. Ronell, and this is a guy who doesn't bet a whole lot of overs. He likes over 6 in this game. We're gonna get to that game, Raven. He's asking for his thoughts on the Canes and Islanders over 6. I think that's what he said there. But to sum this one up, I really want to get involved with the Bruins here, Drew. I guess the best way to do it is the series price. I guess I could do it in game 1 too, but what was the series price that you saw?
I think it was like 340 or something. Let me try and find it here.
Okay.
Bruins, and, yeah, 320, 325.
Okay, got it. And if you do bet the series, I mean, I learned this from Teddy, or got it from Teddy. When you're betting the series, you're betting them in that game. Otherwise, you would wait to bet the series. So maybe you do, also bet them here tonight. Drew likes the under, and I'm likely to get involved some way, shape, or form with some kind of Bruins tonight.
There's some cool bets actually, Skee. You mentioned that. There's some cool bets in the NHL. Like they do like win game 1 and win the series. And like I think for the Bruins, you can get that like -145, 50. So like if like you said, if you think someone's going to win the series, you probably think they're going to win game 1. So anybody that doesn't want to do the parlay with anybody else, you can kind of parlay them with the game 1 and the series bet and get a better price there. Everyone loves the shirt, brother. Everyone loves your shirt.
Yeah, I don't put it on too much. Jeffrey gets it though. Jeffrey gets it. Plural. I'm just having fun. But Justin says, "Who has a dog?" It's not me. It's our buddy over there in the north. And here goes Munaf with it. Bruins win game 1 and win series -155. I think he would agree with that as well. So good stuff. I think that could be the way that I choose to play this game. I'll look for that prop. That sounds really good to me. I'll even mark it down here.
Anybody that wants to bet on the Bruins to win the cup, I really recommend this. You take a look right now at some futures. You can look at some awards and stuff like that. Kind of like, remember when people were talking about the Warriors price to win the whole thing versus Steph Curry odds to win the MVP?
Right.
How it was better. So there's a player, you know David Pastrnak for the Bruins.
Mm-hmm. Pasta.
Yeah, Pasta. He's always shooting, right? Everyone loves betting his props over shots on goal and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So like depending on where you shop around, I'm trying to pull it up right now, but like you can really find some good, like, here we go. So he's plus 700 to win that award right now. You know what I mean? And the Bruins, they're like what, plus 300 something to win the whole thing. So in my opinion, I think if you like the Bruins, you like Pasta to do well. And I would take him. You know what I mean? Like, that's a pretty good price, man, at 7-1 odds for the guy everyone thinks is going to go, go to the Stanley Cup. Everyone's saying they already won it. The parade's already planned. So they might as well give you 7-1 odds versus taking the plus 300.
I feel you on that. And our guy Josh, he gets his pay. He always lets us know when we're betting those pasta props. So it sounds good to me. Everything lines up there and checks out. Let's keep going here because I do want to touch on all of these games. I do want to ask you about a game for tomorrow also. And I even want to touch a little bit of MLB. We're kind of tight on time here just today. But Islanders, Hurricane. We did have a question about the total here. We'll talk about that too. This game opened minus 160 for the Hurricanes. They're now about minus 170, I think it looks like. Total open 5.5. Still sitting at 5.5, but becoming juiced to the under. What I have here is Carolina is 28-13 as a home favorite versus the Islanders, who are 9-18 as a road dog. So Islanders not doing very well playing on the road versus competition. Carolina has won 3 out of 4 meetings so far this season. The under has hit 20 out of 32 times that Frederick Anderson has been in net. Looking at both of these defenses, they're top 10 in block shots, goals allowed, save percentage, and just looking at numbers, it looks like New York Islanders offense stinks, and I feel like the Hurricanes offense isn't that great either. They're probably I would describe them as mid from the numbers. So would you agree with that? Would you also be looking towards the under, or are you looking towards the side?
Yeah, I mean, I think that between this series and between the Minnesota and Dallas series, everyone's just expecting like 2-1 games, like just good goaltending, good defense. And the way these teams play in the playoffs is a lot different from how they play in the regular season. They're really going to shut things down. Um, here's my favorite play on this game. And I'm going to go. I like looking at team totals in the playoffs even more than the regular season because, like we say, we want to avoid the regulation and stuff like that. We don't know about overtime, who's going to, but also, let's say you're playing an under, but the team you thought might win, they end up scoring one empty net goal, the second empty net goal, and they push that one over. You'd be losing your mind. You'd be, I have to go buy a new TV because I'll be smashing it. You know what I mean? So I like looking at the opposition team total under. So I like New York team total under 2.5 tonight because I think that Carolina's defense is so good. Last year at home in the first round, they won every single game they played in front of their home crowd. They're a team that's just a different beast. You don't want to fade this team at home. I'm seeing every single person on Twitter and social media saying the Islanders are coming. The Islanders are coming. The way I look at it, Skee, is that these teams play very similar, but Carolina is just better. Anything you can do, I can do better. I think it's kind of the situation with Carolina. One thing I'm worried about there, I see them talking about it in the chat right now. Freddie Anderson, they're actually not giving him the start tonight, man. They're giving it to Antti Ranta. And I don't like it when teams have a goaltender question mark going into the year, like who's going to be the guy. I like it when teams already know who that guy is, so that kind of worries me a bit. But I like Carolina in the series. Like I mentioned, that Bruins-Carolina parlay, but I'm going to go with team total under 2.5 for the Islanders here for the show.
I like that play. I mean, it lines up with how I was thinking about this game anyway. The number one thing that stood out to me is their offense stinks. So if we're trusting the Carolina's defense, I like that team total under 2.5, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get involved with that there. So good stuff on that game. Adam says RotoWire says that Renata's starting in net. So appreciate you guys helping out in the chat as well. One more game for today in NHL. That is going to be Minnesota and Dallas. This game opened up Dallas minus 140, still hanging around that number. Total open 5.5 and still sitting at 5.5. And what I have on this game, the Stars have been hot, right? They've won their last 6 games. They're averaging more than 4 goals since March. Dallas is 22-16 as a home favorite versus Minnesota, who is 6-13 as a road dog. Jake Ettinger, 34, 26-1 to the under. Flip, I'm not even gonna try to say his last name. He's 20-12-5 to the under. It's went under 3 of the 4 meetings. So I was thinking about this one. It just seems like two more defensive teams than offensive, and just thinking that the total is a little bit low for a reason here, and just banking on how they've been playing so far this season. So I want to lean towards the under. What do you think about Minnesota versus Dallas? And also, I lean towards the Stars just because they've been playing really good lately.
It's really hard to argue anybody off and under in this series. You know, you got two really good goalies. Ottinger has been good. Even if it's Gustafsson or if it's Fleury, I think both guys are really good there for Minnesota. Here's the thing I worry, and it's funny because you talk to some people and they might tell you the other way around, but I don't think that Minnesota has as much depth as Dallas does. Simply, I don't think they have as many guys out there that can make plays. So they're going to have certain guys playing a lot of minutes, where I think Dallas has a bunch of guys that are kind of, you know, they can separate their offense a bit. And experience is a huge thing too, man. And in the NHL, when you've got 21 players versus, you know, 5 to 8 and maybe 9 in the NBA, you need to have a lot of experience out there. And in the NHL, Dallas has lots of older players. Look at the average age for the Dallas Stars versus Minnesota. We got a little more experienced players on Dallas, guys that have been far, guys that have been to the Stanley Cup before, guys that have that experience. And I feel like that's a huge factor. You know, the Wild, they've been that team, man, where they've gone to the first round like every year, past few years, but they haven't been able to make that next jump over. I'm not sure if this is the year for it, but I think this is a really good shots on goal a game. I'm looking at Jason Robertson over his shots on goal. His line mates that he plays with, they pretty much give him the go ahead, man. He's got the go ahead to shoot as much as he wants. They set him up. Let me see what his current number is. It's 3.5 minus 125 to the over. And same thing with Minnesota. Kaprizov, he's over 3.5 minus 115. Sometimes, man, you look at these series where you expect two good goaltenders and a good defensive game, and that also means you're going to see lots of shots. So I'm going to keep it simple, stupid here and give out Robertson over on his shots and Kaprizov over on his shots. Those guys, there's no hesitancy with those guys, man. They're going to shoot a lot.
All right, I have no knowledge about the players like that, so I'm gonna lean on you there. Andrew likes some shots on goal props. I'm leaning a little bit more towards the under. Guys in the comments, Raven says he's taking the under in the second bet, a separate bet. Tori likes the first period under, and Adam says Ottinger was a certified dog last year in the playoffs. So
I like that.
a lot of different opinions. Before we move on, really quick, we don't have that much time for baseball left. I want to ask you a couple quick questions because it's the two teams that I was paying attention to close last season. My question is, why are the Rangers underdogs to the Devils? Like, is Shesterkin not playing? What's the deal? Because I just feel like, or I guess when I look at it, the question is, do the Devils have the Rangers number? They beat them 3 out of 4 times this season. But I just can't help but think, like, I don't think Igor, he couldn't have been in net all those games. I have a lot of faith in him, and it's hard for me to see them as an underdog. I would pick them to win this series. Would you?
Definitely, I would. I think this is wrong team favored. I think that regular season is doing a lot of talking in that price. I talked about how important experience is in the playoffs. So Colorado, they won the Stanley Cup last year. They had to go through absolute battles for many years to end up getting over that hump of the second round. Tampa Bay Lightning, they got swept in the first round against Columbus. They lost the next year. Then they ended up winning. Now they've been in the Stanley Cup 3 straight years. All I'm saying is it takes teams time to get into the playoffs and then build that experience. The Devils are back in the playoffs for the first time in 4 years, and they're favorites. I don't think so, man. I think, and one thing as well, they're the 32nd youngest team in the league. They're dead last. They're the youngest team in the league. And you know, the playoff rookies, like how many guys are making their playoff debut? We got 10 players on the Devils making their playoff debut, Skee. You know how many on the Rangers? 0.
I like it. That's all I need to know right there. I appreciate you. That give me the push that I need in that game. The last question I want to ask before we do touch some MLB for the little time that we do have left, and this one I don't feel as strong about, but I don't understand it. So hopefully you can help me. Did the Lightning fall off that bad? Like I feel like the past couple of years I've been watching, they've been, one of the better teams in the league. Now they're plus 135 in game one, plus 145 for the series. Did they fall off that bad this year?
I mean, look, this is the way I love to troll the Maple Leafs on Twitter. I'm from Canada. I'm a Canadians fan. I love to make fun of the Maple Leafs, but this is the best team I've seen the Toronto have probably since I might be alive. You know what I mean? I'll go that far and say it. But there's so much physicality, right? There's so much that goes into the playoffs, winning low scoring games and needing to have that big goaltender. And even though Samsonov has been good for Toronto in goal, I still think that Vasilevsky has the edge for Toronto or for Tampa. But the thing is, everybody keeps talking about this. They've been to the Cup 3 straight years. Are they tired? The way I look at it is, I just don't think they give a shit about the regular season.
Okay.
You'll wait till tomorrow to tell me if they're tired or not, right? Tampa Bay, I think the biggest thing for Toronto is that if they can get production from guys that aren't named Matthews and Marner, they need to get that secondary scoring, right? They need to get guys playing well that aren't their best players. It will take a lot of pressure off their top guys. But, here's the thing, Skee. I don't think that the odds makers take into account experience, right? They just base it off regular season. So if you're taking it off that, the price is probably where it should be. But if you're looking at experience and physicality and things like that, I think that, you probably have a lean towards the Tampa Bay in this one. I would low-key like to see a Toronto win game one and then get a real good price on Tampa plus 1.5 games in the series. Because right now that's like 165. But if Toronto takes game one, you're going to get a really good price on them plus 1.5 games. And if that's the case, if it goes 7 and let's say Toronto somehow wins, you still.
Good way to play it right there. Maybe my thought process, I might just put a small bit on the Lightning plus the 145. And if they do lose, I'll come back and put a little bit more on the plus 1.5 games. That way, if they do lose by 1, you still make some profit. And if they win the series, you make even more. So good stuff on NHL, Andrew. I do want to, we're short on time. And I do want to talk about one MLB game myself. I know there's, an MLB game or a couple you might have been looking at. We'll try to get to those as many as possible. But the first game that I want to talk about here, and I should try to get over to the odd screen, but it's taking a little bit longer. Here we go. So the game I want to talk about is San Fran versus Miami. We're looking at Webb going up against Luzardo. So far this season, I think it's been 3 starts for each of these pitchers. 17 innings pitched for Webb, 4.76 ERA. Luzardo, 18 innings pitched, 1.93. But the home road splits. I mean, Webb, he's just terrible on the road. His ERA goes up to 6.55. Luzardo, he's been a lot better at home. His ERA at the house is 0.71. So I already know the name Luzardo. I trust him. And Webb, he's the guy you bet at the house. You do not touch him on the road. So all of that. And my guy, UCapper, we've seen him in the chat. He put out some trends this morning. I'm looking at it right now. He has Webb, or San Fran is 1-10 straight up with Webb as an underdog. So I want to fade him. I don't know that I want to trust Miami's bullpen. I trust Luzardo 100%. So my thought process here is take the Marlins in the first 5. Also take, first 5 team total under 2.5 for San Fran. I think that's the number there. I didn't bet it just yet. So first 5 team total under, just because the Giants are second worst weighted runs created plus versus left-handed pitching as well. So 2 plays for me that I will be making after the show. Marlins first 5, San Fran first 5 team total under. Could you talk me off either, or how do you feel about this game, Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, I was just talking with you, but before the show, telling you that I'm not happy about the Marlins offense, man. When I look at them, and sometimes they can't put runners in whenever I want them. I feel like they always get runners on base and then they screw me. Like there's a runner on the corners, they can't get somebody in. I like the under in this game. When I was looking at the 2 pitchers, I feel like they can at least get us through a few innings. And it's not a game that I've officially got in on yet, but I feel like when I'm looking at the Marlins at home as well, against Webb, I'm gonna go with the under, Skee, under 8. I'll get that one out. All
right, fair enough. And the real DJ says he trusts Webb more. Bill McDonald's asking if I'm going to be doing an NBA show. That will come later on. If you guys are familiar with the Pub Show, we're going to have the OG crew on there. Me, Wham Bam, Albano, and Dutch. So look out for that later today. I did want to read one more thing on this game just because we don't have him on the stage, and I really like what my guy Antonio had to say about this game too. These are his words. He says, Giants dead last in most hitting categories versus left-handed pitchers. San Fran is 3-1 to the under versus 4 starting left-handed pitchers. Combined pitchers in this spot have a 1.52 ERA and a 30.4 K percentage. Luzardo owns a .423 OPS through 21 at-bats for San Fran, and he is yet to give up a run through the first 5. So that backs up the plays that I like, and that's what we're rocking with. Let's move over to one more game here. Maybe we have time for more than one, but likely one more game here. And that will be, do you have a preference, Andrew? I know you gave a couple.
Look, I just wanted to say real quick, I don't have a lot on this one. I'm still doing a lot of my MLB work, but I was going to just say in the Tampa Bay game versus the Reds, I feel like everybody's like, nobody's giving Hunter Green respect. Like, I feel like people are all of a sudden writing him out real quick, So I feel like when you look at what he's able to produce, I still think he's one of the top guys for this Reds team on the season so far. 14 inning pitch, give up 17 hits, 8 runs, 1 home run only. He's not walking a ton of batters. I feel like he's just faced some good teams. You know, he has played a good Atlanta team, a good Philadelphia team that can put up runs and get to you early. This is the thing, though. I usually look at first 5 unders when I look at Skee, but I actually like the Rays bullpen. I think the Reds, because they got some time off, they could, their bullpen isn't too rusty right now. They should be healthy coming into this one and rested. I'm going to go under full game Rays and Reds under 9.5. I feel like these two pitchers don't get talked about enough. And I think Hunter Green's pretty good, man. And no one really puts
Well, maybe he's good, but I know the Reds stink. So we'll see how that one shakes out. Maybe that's why I didn't give respect, because I feel you on that. Good stuff there. So maybe we'll just stop here. I did just want to quickly mention, I was considering, I didn't finish doing my work, but I was looking at this Brewers and Mariners game and just flexing. He's a guy that I remember, trusting and backing consistently for the Seattle team. They've been hot. They've won 4 games in a row. It's just, and Burns hasn't looked like himself. So I feel like we should fade Burns until he comes back into form, and you're getting a good price with Seattle to do so here. So I was thinking about that.
I like that.
You like that one?
Man, I swear, some of these pitchers, everybody keeps talking about in baseball, like not worrying just about starting pitchers. And I disagree. You got to look at starting pitchers, but it's all about some of them that are just so overvalued. I agree with you on that one, man. Or even just looking at team total. If I don't have the balls like you do with the money line, I'll look at the team total for Mariners.
Absolutely. So that's the way that I was looking. We'll see if I can shore up my work. I'm pretty sure I'm going to go live again later in the day too, like closer to game time, and I'll share some looks and live bet some games with you too. I'm sharing some stats. Burns 8-1, 1.59 ERA versus AL teams. Not this year though. This is not the Burns. We're not seeing Burns from last year, and he's not looking like that right now. That's what I'm saying. If this is last year, I trust him, but not right now. So good stuff today, Andrew. We went through NHL. We went through a couple MLB games. Now it's that part of the show where I ask if there's anything that you would like to promote, and also, if, out of everything we talked about, maybe one play you like a little more than the rest.
Yeah, so I've just got I've got a 5% series wager up at Wager Talk. Obviously, it's a $9 Monday, so all the plays are $9. So tomorrow that goes back to $35. So in one package, you can actually get all of my series predictions. I got some props in there, some head-to-head player matchups. You know all about that kind of stuff. So it's all in one package. So anybody interested in my stuff, go grab that. If not, hope I was able to bring some knowledge, and hope I didn't talk your ear off too much, man. Hope I gave some good stuff out to you. So I appreciate you, and
I'll give out. I think it might surprise some people, but I'm actually going to go with that under 6.5, Florida and Boston, man. I think we're going to see Alex Lyon play well, at least in game 1. I told you before, Allmark does not get the respect he deserves. Give me a low-scoring Bruins victory here.
All right, I like it. And for myself, I'm on here capping the capper with my guy Andrew. So out of everything we talked about, there's a couple of things that I like, but the one at the best price that also goes today That's what I'm gonna roll with. And let me just make sure. I'm going to the odds screen to make sure I can go bet it right after the show. It's gonna be a team total. And here we go. Islanders, and I have it right there. That offense is absolutely terrible. That offense is ass. We're going Islanders team total under 2.5 goals for tonight. Andrew, I appreciate you taking the time to come break down the NHL and MLB with me. You're a lot better at it. Clearly, everybody can tell than I am, and I would not have been able to do this show without you. So I appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks for having
Like
me,
you
man.
Of course, anytime, I like to have you on anytime. And like he said, if you want to follow him on his bets, he's been really good the last few years in hockey, especially. Everything's over at wagertalk.com. I also want to shout out the chat. This show is not the same without you guys. You guys make it funny, entertaining, and you guys bring a lot of good plays and props into the chat as well. So thank you guys. Best of luck on all your action. We'll be live on the channel again at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for some NBA action. So I'll see you guys then, or I'll catch you guys later.